Welcome to LearnWake. This is Brandon Judd responding to a video analysis request that has been uploaded by user designworks. And this is on some wake-to-wake jumps and some back roll attempts. And thanks for the description down here. This really helps us kind of get into what you're thinking. And it looks like on both of these tricks, one of your questions is that you're getting very little hang time and height on all of your jumps, and you know that standing taller would help. Anything else to pay attention to there? And then you want to do a short approach, but your coach keeps telling you to edge out further to do a wake-to-wake. And then the second question is that you don't pay much attention to whether or not you want to go wake-to-wake or just one wake. You just want to make a nice jump with nice height and hang time, and that most of the time you end up casing the wake, landing on top of the second wake, and that this is difficult for you. So we're going to work on a couple of those things today. I've got some advice for you on your back roll as well as these wake-to-wake jumps. Now the first thing is your edging positions are really nice. I actually really like this. So your toe side edging position as you edge out, those are really strong, tall, lean, which is really good. You're building good habits there. And your questions on your width, I don't think they're terrible as long as you compensate for a little more edge here. The biggest issue I'm seeing is this wake is kind of small and round, so you've really got to compensate by leaning a lot in order to get the produced pop and momentum and distance across the wakes so that you can land wake to wake. A common fix to not landing wake to wake and casing the wake is to just bring the rope in a little bit shorter. And that may be a better option than edging out wider. Granted, when you edge out wider, it will give you more of this pendulum swing motion coming into the wakes, which will give you more momentum to cross the wakes a little better. So if you are trying to go on a bigger wake jump like this, you can definitely edge out further, come in with a little more speed, and then stay tall and really lean hard through the wake. That'll give you your longest, biggest trajectory. But it's not the most conducive to learning at this point. So I would almost recommend just shortening up a little bit. And you can edge out this far, maybe a hair further if you'd like. But you do a really good job coasting and keeping those knees bent. A lot of people stand really tall here, and then they sort of get squatted and crank on their edge right when they start edging into the wake, and it messes their timing up. But it looks like you do this pretty good. You hold a nice, good, strong edge all the way through the wake. There's just not a lot of wake to really push you up. So you've got to add more speed and harder lean and just really give it all you got in order to get wake to wake on these. So it may be better for you to narrow up your rope length, to shorten your rope length, which puts you at a narrower spot in the wake, so it makes it easier for you to go wake to wake. And just so you can get comfortable, because honestly it looks like you're ready to start doing some 180s and some toe side jumps and things like that. So these really aren't that bad. I've seen a lot worse. That distance is good, that edge is good, standing tall. I mean, that one was really nice. A little bobble at the end was a little funny, but the beginning of this jump, let's talk about how this is a little different than your other ones. So you edged out further. Your other ones you were right to about here, and then you came in on a nice good pendulum swing, and then you started increasing your edge progressively all the way through the wake. And then watch your legs here. You're going to stand tall all the way through the wake. And we could get that last little tiny bit of bend in your back leg to get pushed all the way out, and then you'll make it wake to wake even higher. So right here your legs should be just locked out. You should just really force that to get tall. And then you'll get wake to wake more consistently on a little less edge, even if you had to extend your leg a little more. So again, that is a really hard wake jump to start learning a bunch of 180s from, and adding more tricks to it if you're always struggling to go wake to wake. So it might be worth practicing those with that long leg push, that fully tall push, and then also shortening them up to do some easy wake-to-wake jumps, so you can start adding some spins and toe side jumps and things in there. So again, this looked great. I wouldn't change too much other than, you already kind of diagnosed the problem in the description. You said you need to stand a little taller and maybe edge out a little wider, but again, I think your easy fix is going to be shortening that up. And then let's talk about your back rolls a little bit, because I think before we start going into your back rolls, I think you should start learning some other tricks first. I don't know that I would go straight into back rolls unless maybe I, correct me if I'm wrong, but maybe I just am not seeing a lot of the other tricks that you can do. But according to your back roll, it looks like you've done a lot of heel side jumps and not a lot of the rest of the stuff that you could be working on. So I'd recommend taking a break on these back rolls for a little bit and then going to do some 180s and toe side jumps and things of that nature. I would just start getting really comfortable on all your edges, doing some ollies out in the flats, some re-entry ollies, starting to do some grabs, things like that. So, but since we already have this, let's talk a little bit about your back roll. The biggest issue is you're not releasing. You're loading and you're holding the load all the way through your flip. So I want to compare this position to Kyle Schmidt's position on his. So you're at about the same angle. If we look at the angle here that we've put you at, and compare it to this one, it's about the same. Your angle here and Kyle's angle is about the same. So you're in the same amount of flip position, but if you look closely, the differences are your eyes are looking up. You're looking toward the sky really hard here, and then I can see the bottom of the board pretty well. So let's look at Kyle's position. So Kyle's head is kind of more sideways. He's looking, kind of glancing out of that side of his eye because that's where his landing's going to end up, but he's not turning and facing the sky so much. Additionally, his board, you can see the top sheet of his board just about as much as you can see the bottom sheet of yours. What this means is that the board is a lot further behind Kyle than your board is. So the board is going to be further away from the boat. Although you're in both the same flipping position with that angle, your board is in a completely different position. So what this means is you're not releasing at the wake, because a back roll is part cartwheel and part heel side air railie. And this heel side air railie portion is the part that makes the board go out behind you during this flip. So the fix for that is here in this low impact heel side back roll progression. So I would go through all of these steps, being able to load and release the board, and see how Kyle sends it out behind him in all of these. This drill is going to be the trick to getting that board out behind you. It feels really uncomfortable if you're not sure that you can trust it. A lot of people are afraid to give it a shot because they feel like they're going to get stuck in this open position here, and they're going to fall toes down at some point and have their board get caught behind them and then get slammed into the water. So this is a safety mechanism that you're doing, is trying to keep your board closer to the boat than your upper body is all the time. This is good on axis spins and normal wake jumps. This is a good habit to have. However, for the back roll, you have to actually send the board out behind you before it can return back underneath you. So that's the key. So let's look at this real quick. So you'll watch how you just fight to keep the board in front of you the whole time. So the board's still in front of you, still in front of you, and then it kind of goes behind you a little bit here, and then you get kind of stuck. And halfway through there, if we look at your body position, if I can pause that at the right spot, you fold just completely in half, because you can tell you're right here where you just kind of fold in half and go into kind of a fetal position, protect me position that is very natural. If you feel like you're going to fall, most people will buckle at the waist and kind of go into this protect me position. And this position is going to stall your back roll out and make it stop rotating. But this is this is just born of your discomfort. So I would keep this in mind that we need to get comfortable practicing out in the flats, and this video does a really good job showing how it's a lot less impact. There's a lot less travel, less danger, less risk than when you start trying these flips out in the flats here. So I would say that's where you should start. Get used to loading them up like that. Follow the directions in that low impact heel side back roll instructional video, and then we can talk a little more and get onto this. But in the meantime, I would work on maybe shortening up the rope and doing some toe side jumps, some heel side jumps with grabs, throw some shifties and 180s in there. Just get really comfortable and kind of open yourself up so that we don't find ourselves in this really uncomfortable position. And don't get me wrong, this is totally normal. When I first started trying my first back rolls, I was in the exact same position. They looked very similar to yours. It was really awkward and uncomfortable for me to send the board out behind me and then to trust being in a tall position the whole time, because it felt to me like I was just asking to get destroyed if I didn't do it right. So this is very common, so don't stress out about it, but you're on the right track with those wake jumps. They're looking good, and then I'd take you through that low impact heel side back roll progression instructional video, and I think you'll be good to go. So thanks again for uploading the video, and hopefully we've answered your questions. If you have any other questions, feel free to hit us up down here in the comments section below, or you can upload another video of you implementing some of the things that we've just talked about. Thanks again.